Hello and welcome to Smartling. This video will guide you through the first steps of working in Smartling as a translator or editor. To get started, please check your email inbox for an invitation from Smartling. Please click on the activation link to confirm your account and to set up a password. Select your notification preferences as well as your location and language pair. Once you click Register, you're all set up. You can now log into the Smartling dashboard at any time directly from your browser at dashboard.smartling.com. Smartling is a cloud-based translation platform, so you will not need to install or download any software. Provided that email notifications are enabled for your account, you don't even need to remember the Smartling URL. Whenever there is a new translation task available for you, we will automatically send you an email notification with a direct link to your Smartling dashboard. Smartling uses two-step verification to keep your account secure. This means that after entering your login credentials, you will be asked to submit an additional verification code, which will be sent to your email address. Simply copy the verification code from the email, enter it on the authentication page, and click Submit. You are now authenticated and logged in. Once you are logged in, we would recommend adjusting the notification settings to your preferences. This ensures that you will receive an email from Smartling whenever a task requires your attention. To do so, please access the notification settings from the drop-down menu next to your name. Most importantly, to allow Smartling to notify you about tasks that require your attention, please make sure that the notifications for your account are enabled. You can then select the exact notifications that you would like to receive. For alerts about new translation work, you can choose whether you prefer to be notified in real time or if you'd like to receive a daily digest instead. Once you have adjusted the global notification preferences, you can then navigate to the Project tab. Projects are what we call your customers' translation environments in Smartling. For example, a customer might have a project for marketing collateral and a different project for the translation of legal documents. So here you can further tweak the notifications that you would like to receive for each of your customers' projects. Once your notification preferences are all set, let's go back to the home screen by clicking on the Smartling logo. Your home screen shows the Jobs dashboard, which lists out all of your translation tasks, which are called jobs in Smartling. So this is where you can complete most of your day-to-day activities. The most important view is the Current Work tab. Here you can find all jobs that have been assigned to you and are ready to be worked on. We will soon take a closer look at all of the information that is displayed here. In the Available to Accept tab, you can find all jobs that might be available for claiming. Claiming or accepting means that you can assign a job to yourself on a first-come, first-served basis if you are available to deliver the specified word count within the customer's due date. Simply click Accept and select all files that you would like to work on. This job has now been assigned to you, and you can find it in your Current Work tab. If you are an editor, the Upcoming tab shows jobs which are currently still being translated and will soon become available for your review. You can come in here to proactively check how many words will soon be coming your way for editing and when they will be due. The Submitted tab lists out all of the jobs that you have worked on and submitted over the last 60 days. Lastly, the Jobs dashboard also shows your declined jobs. When jobs are available to accept, you can either accept them to begin working on them or decline them if you are unavailable. So in this separate tab, you can see any jobs that you may have declined. If you declined a job by mistake, you can find it here and accept it if it is still available. For now, let's click back into the Current Work tab. On the left-hand side, a range of filtering options allow you to search for specific jobs, such as high-priority jobs or jobs pertaining to a specific customer project. You can see the name of each translation job, as well as the project that it belongs to, and your customer's name. We would recommend also checking the icons underneath the job name to see if any attachments or descriptions have been provided for further context. Next, you can see the word count for each job, as well as a progress bar to highlight how many translations have already been saved. To know when a job will need to be delivered, please refer to the due date columns. There are two columns, one for your task due date and one for the overall job due date. The job due date is the final deadline, when all of the necessary steps will need to be completed for a job, including any editing or review steps. To make sure that the overall job due date can be met, many customers will set up a specific task due date for you. If there is a task due date set up for you, please consider this as your deadline. For example, if my task due date is set to November 7th, the editors and reviewers who will check my translations will have 4 extra days to hit the overall job due date of November 11th. If no task due date has been specified, you can simply work towards the overall job due date. All times will be shown in your local browser time zone. To get a detailed fuzzy estimate, please click on the ellipsis menu next to the job. This is where you can see the breakdown of each job by fuzzy tier, as well as the weighted word count. You can download this estimate in a CSV format for further processing. To begin working on a job, please click Open. This will open a new browser window for the Smartling CAT tool. The CAT tool, or Computer Assisted Translation tool, has been specifically designed to make the translation process easier and more efficient. When you log in for the first time, you will be asked to confirm your preferred keyboard shortcut profile. Keyboard shortcuts allow you to perform certain actions, like saving translations, more quickly by simply pressing a combination of buttons on your keyboard. You can either select the keyboard shortcut profile from a CAT tool you might already be familiar with, or if Smartling is your first CAT tool, simply select the Smartling profile. Next, you will be asked to confirm your CAT tool preferences. If you are using a CAT tool for the first time, we would recommend simply confirming the default options by hitting Save. If you would like to customize the CAT tool behavior at a later point, you can access your preferences at any time from the Settings menu. Of course, you can find further information about all available settings in our Help Center. You are now ready to start translating. There are three main panels in the Smartling CAT tool. The Context panel for visual context, the Translation panel, and a panel on the right-hand side for additional resources and information. If you are translating for a specific customer project for the first time, we would recommend reading the style guide to familiarize yourself with the tone of voice that should be used. You can access the style guide at any time under Additional Details. You can now start entering a first translation. The content to translate is automatically split up into smaller translation units that we call strings. You will need to enter a translation for each of these strings. Simply click into the Translation panel and start typing. As you are entering your translations, you can check the Context panel to see a preview of the localized file or web page. This visual context can help you get a better understanding of the source text and the environment where the translations will appear. The context window can be resized and adjusted to your preferences. Once you are happy with your translation, you will need to save it. To save a translation, you can either click the checkmark symbol or use your keyboard shortcut. This translation is now saved, and you can move on to the next string. If you made a mistake and need to make a correction, you can of course go back and edit a saved string. Please save the new translation again once you're happy with it. Similarly, if you are working as an editor and want to make changes to an existing translation, you can simply click into the relevant string, make the necessary corrections, and then save the new translation. If no changes are needed, you can simply save the existing translation as is. Once you have saved a translation for each string in this job, you will automatically be prompted to submit your work. Alternatively, you can also manually click the Submit button from the top navigation. Submitting means that the translations will be sent to the next step in the workflow and they will be removed from your workspace. This is an essential step to let your customer know that your work is finished. We would recommend using the default option to submit only translations which have previously been saved and are good to go. You will receive a success message, and the lock symbol will indicate that these strings have been submitted and have left your workflow step. So to recap, please save each translation as you go along. At the end of a job, when you want to sign off on your translations, please click Submit. Once a job has been fully submitted, it will automatically be removed from your current work tab, and instead it will show up in the Submitted tab of your jobs dashboard. All submitted strings will also count towards your word count report. Larger strings, which consist of more than one sentence, may be broken down further into segments. So a segment usually corresponds to a sentence within a paragraph. All segments belonging to the same string have the same coloring and string number. In order to save your translation, all segments belonging to the same string must be translated. It is not possible to save a string if any segments are left empty. If your target language follows a different structure, it is possible to merge segments so they can be translated as one unit. Merging segments may impact the reusability of your translations, so whenever possible, we would recommend preserving the original segmentation and entering a translation for each individual segment. Now that we've got the basics down, let's take a look at some additional resources that will make your translation process easier, quicker, and more efficient. In the cat tool, you might see some percentages show up on the right-hand side next to some of the strings to translate. These percentages are referring to a feature called translation memory, or TM. A translation memory is a database where all translations for your customer will be stored so they can be easily reused in the future. If the percentage on the right-hand side says 100%, this means that the same exact source text has already been translated in the past. If a percentage between 50 and 99% is shown, this means that some similar source text has been translated in the past, but the new source text is slightly different. Under Language Resources, you can check exactly what has changed since the last time that some similar text was translated. In our example, we can see here the previous translation for the text "all of your linguistic assets combined," whereas now we need to translate "all of your linguistic assets under one roof." You might want to insert the previous translation and then make only some small tweaks. This helps you translate faster and maintain consistency with previous translations. Depending on your CAT tool preferences, you might even see some suggestions from the translation memory already pre-filled. You can recognize these auto-populated entries by the blue dot that indicates an unedited fuzzy match from the translation memory. Please check any pre-filled translations and make any necessary adjustments before saving them. You can also proactively search the translation memory to check if and how a certain term or phrase was translated in the past. You can use the option Search TM. This search across the entire translation memory is also called Concordance search. Of course, you can also narrow down your concordance search by using the available filtering options. Most customers will also provide a glossary to ensure that the translations will adhere to their preferred terminology. A glossary is a list of terms that are important to your customer's organization and that should use an approved translation, such as brand names or product terms. You can easily spot any glossary entries by hovering over any words that are underlined with a dotted line. You can now see the suggested translation for this term, as well as any available definitions and notes. To insert the suggested translation for a glossary term, you can simply click on the translation from the glossary window. Similarly, if a term should remain untranslated, you will see an instruction that says "Do not translate." Your customer has the option to add specific instructions to a string to provide you with further context. Any instructions will be displayed directly in the yellow bar above the text to translate. Please make sure to read this information before entering your translation. Your customer might set up a character limit for certain strings to ensure that the translations will fit within a given format. If a character limit is set up, you can easily spot it in the right-hand corner of your translation window, and you will see a warning as soon as the maximum length is exceeded. If you happen to make a small mistake in your translation, for example by entering a typo or by introducing a formatting error, you will see a quality check message. Smartling offers a wide range of automated checks to help you deliver the best possible translation quality. Smartling's language AI allows you to fix many quality check errors with a single click of a button. Simply click Fix to automatically correct the detected translation error with our AI-powered solution. Before submitting a job, You can also run an additional quality check from the top menu. By clicking Check Now, you will get an overview of any outstanding errors that may still need your attention. Sometimes you will spot some grayed out number pairs in the source text. These numbers stand for HTML tags, which indicate some special type of formatting or markup. If you want to see the actual HTML as it appears in the source text, you can click the Toggle Tags button. In most cases, these tags will appear in pairs. There's usually an opening tag to mark the beginning of a certain formatting style, and a closing tag to indicate where the formatting style should end. In our example, the B stands for the beginning of some bold formatting. /B stands for the end of the bold formatting. By default, Smartling displays these HTML tags as number pairs to make it easier to visually organize them around your translation. To insert a pair of tags, simply mark up the part of your translation that corresponds to the text in between the tags in the source. Then click on the opening tag in the source text. This will automatically apply both the opening and the closing tag to your translation. If needed, you can also drag and drop the tags to a different position in your translation. A different type of grayed out and non-editable content that you might come across are placeholders for variable text elements. In our example, the placeholder for first name will be replaced with a customer's name once the translations have been delivered, such as Hello John, Hello Jane, etc. You cannot translate the placeholder itself, but you do need to translate the text around it and ensure that the placeholder is in the correct spot. That way, the translated sentence will still be correct when the variable text element will be filled in at a later point. To insert a placeholder in your translation, you can simply click on it in the source text. If you have any questions about the text to translate, you can use our Issues feature to communicate directly with your customer without having to leave the translation interface. To submit a new question to your customer, please click Open New Issue from the Issues panel on the right-hand side. For any questions in relation to the source text, please leave the issue type set as source. You can now ask your customer for clarifications or, if necessary, point out a typo in the source text. Simply type out your question and click Create Issue. Your customer will automatically be notified about your question and leave a comment for you. As soon as a comment has been submitted, you will receive an email notification from Smartling, so you can click back into this pop-up window and review the clarifications provided by your customer. Once your question has been sufficiently answered, please don't forget to mark the issue as resolved. Any issues will always stay linked in the Issues panel, so you can go back to them at any point in the future and revisit the comments. Sometimes you will also spot some issues here that were opened by other linguists. In Smartling, we share any source issues across all target languages to avoid repeating the same question multiple times. You can check which questions were asked by your colleagues and which comments were already provided by the customer. If you are working as an editor and proofreading translations that were submitted by other linguists, you have the option to provide some feedback if the translation quality is not meeting your standards. To ensure that the translator will be able to read your comment and to revise their translation, we would recommend clicking the X symbol to reject the string. You will now be asked to open a translation issue to indicate the reason for sending back the string and to provide your detailed feedback. This string has now been rejected. The lock symbol indicates that the translation has been sent back and is no longer available in your editing step. Once the translation has been revised, it will become available for proofreading again, so you can run a final check on it. Once translations have been submitted by you and are fully published in Smartling, they can only be edited if your client has given you access to do so. From the Submitted tab in your Jobs dashboard, you can view all jobs which you worked on in the past 60 days. From here, you can click on the word count to see the strings of any submitted job. To edit published translations, please click on the ellipsis menu and select the option Edit in CAT tool. You can now save an amended translation for this string. Alternatively, you can access the strings within your customer's project to view the published translations across all jobs. To do so, please click into the relevant project from the Projects drop-down menu on your home screen. Then navigate to the Strings view. You are now able to see all strings in this project across all workflow steps that you have access to. On the left-hand side, you can find a range of filtering options. To see only strings that are completed and published in Smartling, use the status filter. Of course, you can also apply any other filters to find the exact translations that you would like to amend. For example, you can search for particular keywords in the source text or in the translation. If you have been given access to edit published translations, you can now simply open the relevant string in the CAT tool from the ellipsis menu. Then make any necessary changes and save the amended translation. If you have been asked by your client to take care of desktop publishing, to provide them with a fully formatted, localized file, you will need to download the translated files for the relevant job. You can do so by clicking on the ellipsis menu and selecting the option Download Files. Please note that many clients use job attachments to provide their source files and design material. So you may also want to check the job attachments. The finished and fully formatted localized files can then also be uploaded as a job attachment before you submit the job. Smartling offers robust reporting to give you valuable insight into your workload and translation quality. From the Reports menu on your home screen, you can access the Word Counts report, which lists out your submitted work by fuzzied here. You can download this report for further processing and filtering, so it can be used as a basis for your invoices. The String Changes report gives you valuable insights into any changes that were made to your translations by editors or reviewers. This report allows you to learn about your customers' preferences and tailor your translations accordingly over time. For even more detailed feedback about the quality of your translations and any potential errors, you can check the Linguistic Quality Assurance Errors and Arbitration report. Linguistic Quality Assurance, or LQA, is a review process where translation errors are recorded in an objective manner based on a defined schema. If your client carries out linguistic quality assurance, you can use this report to view all errors that were recorded for your translations. You can also use this report to arbitrate errors, which means that you can leave a comment to explain why a certain translation was chosen. If you need more information about the Smartling platform and any of its features, we would recommend taking a look at our Help Center, where you can find valuable information to help you get started. Of course, the Smartling team is also here to help if you have any questions. You can reach our support team directly from the Help tab by clicking Contact Support. Thank you very much for watching and for your time today.